I don't have his link.
It is episode 75 of the Metal Roundtable. I am Metal Rob, and with me, as always, is the great
Carcass John.
We've got R2D2 voice going again. I'm not sure.
I feel like I'm
everyone
looking.
Can hear us. I have no idea if they can hear us or not, but
I feel like I'm looking into a crystal ball. Maybe that's the magic of it all.
You're saying
you don't.
Can't understand a word you're saying.
Can you text Scott the link?
There we go. Yes. There we go. Now you're there.
Yeah, text or send Scott the link.
Okay, hang on.
Yeah.
Messenger. Yeah, it's in Messenger.
Okay. Well, I, for some reason, can't forward to him the link, but he's going to join us. He'll join us momentarily.
Hang on. This is just production value. We're famous for this.
Well, I'll say hello to Isaiah Montoya. Thanks for joining yet again.
I'll email it to Scott.
All right. He's been a regular. I think we're going to have to make him part of the roundtable at some point. So Isaiah, message us.
Oh, come on.
Production value.
Boy.
Hey. We got the whole crowd. There's Jana Snow Melvin. Woo!
What's up, Jana? I got to talk about Jana the other night when we were watching an episode of Yellowstone, and there was a girl barrel racing on there. And I talked about how my buddy Steve Ross and I would go next door and stalk Jana while she was barrel racing.
Well, at least she improves the appearance of the show. So thank you, Jana, for joining us.
1,000%. Oh my gosh. All right, Scott, the link is in your inbox, bro.
Sorry, buddy. I got home late from work. I was just, today's been I feel like I've been caught in a mosh.
Yeah, me too. I want to explain a little bit about my hiatus. Is that cool? Well, first of all, let's go back. This is going to be tough because I've got a little different setup, and so my monitor screen is tiny. Oh, that's tomb mold.
That's easy. You know what?
Tomb mold.
I'm tired of making your life difficult. Metal Rob.
Pretty simple too.
I'm just and man, what a ripper band. Gee whiz, those guys are awesome.
Well, let's do shout outs and then I'll kind of explain my hiatus.
Okay.
Yeah. We have a very huge shout out on behalf of the show. We would like to shout out to the memory of the late, great Dimebag Darrell Abbott.
Yeah. Very sad thing. People say it was his death, but he was murdered. I'm sorry to say that's a little more of that's a little graver way of putting it, but it's man, the world has definitely missed a real influence, at least in metal, and what a fun kind of guy. I had some interactions with him. He bought some Kiss stuff from me once when I first moved up to Dallas, and it was pretty awesome. And anyway, so sad day, but you know what? Yeah, it's life moves on, and you just try and learn lessons and enjoy the legacy that he left behind, as we always say. So
oh, absolutely.
I introduced my daughter, who was in town recently with her man Brandon, and I introduced her to Reinventing the Steel.
My gosh.
And she really dug it. She's like, oh my gosh, this is Pantera. And I said, yes.
Oh, dude.
She needs to investigate a little more. So we got a double dose of Reinventing the Steel on cassette. And she said, "How many guitar players are there?" And I said, "Oh, just the one, Dimebag himself." But anyway, so thanks to those two for showing up, and it was a fun weekend, and the meal prep, and Brandon helped me clean out the garage, so that was awesome.
Nice. Well, I have emailed Scott. I've sent it in Messenger, and I've emailed it. There he is.
Oh, there he is! Yay!
Yay!
I've been sitting backstage waiting.
Oh, right on. Cool, man. Thanks for joining, Chief. We're just we're still opening the show. It was pretty funny us trying to get you the link, so my apologies.
No problem.
Yeah, man. How are you, brother?
Good, doing well.
Awesome. You got any shout outs? We're just in the shout out phase, and we are recognizing the memorial of the 14th anniversary of the death of Dimebag Darrell 14 years ago today.
The murder of Dimebag Darrell?
The murder. That's exactly right. Yes.
Yeah, that blows. I don't care if you like the band or not. It's got nothing to do with it.
Yeah. No, that's just a terrible tragedy. And I ran into the guy a few times. I know that Carcass knew him pretty well, but the handful of times that I ran into the guy, he was nothing but nice and accommodating. And to not diminish his metal nature, just a sweet person. He was so nice to me all the time. I mean, the times I ran into him, I don't pretend to have known him. In fact, Carcass, I think you'll recognize this.
Yes, I do.
Sitting right by my desk. Yes.
That was from the Damage Plan CD release party.
Nice. Well, it has become a prized possession of mine, and I thank you very much. Now, speaking of the late, did you have shout outs, Scott? I apologize.
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, that takes us talking about Dimebag Darrell, who I will come back to later when we talk about this. We're going to talk about some of our favorite releases of 2020. Now, I've got everything from rock to metal. I did stay on the rock and metal side of things, but I've probably got 10 things, so we better get after it.
Yeah, I've got at least that many too. I can do as many as you want, actually.
I've got at least 20, 40 things.
Oh God!
Yeah, I probably got about
list like you always do.
Yeah, I did do a list because I got back to the pad late, and I started writing some things down, and I just didn't get around to pulling records. So if anybody wants my list, they can hit me up, and I can send them a list, because I've got a substantial one, and some of it's pretty notable, man. You're going to want to check some of this stuff out. So you want me to start, or?
Let me kick it off. Hey, Monkey Butt, I love the way the screen looks. Can you put us side by side like that again? That was awesome. Yeah. I can see those guys a lot better.
I feel like I'm on ESPN now.
Hey, I'll go quick, but I'll get us started. Carcass, I blame you for this. This is the latest Kansas album. It is called, hang on.
Absence of Presence.
The Absence of Presence, yes. And the Carcass turned me on to the Prelude Implicit a couple of years ago, told me how great it was. And I was always a greatest hits Kansas fan. I never embraced their full-length albums fully, or I never embraced the full album, is what I'm trying to say. Definitely greatest hits for me. But the Prelude Implicit was so great. And if that is version A, here's version B of the Prelude Implicit. It is the same. It's a very perfect continuation of what they did on that record. I love it. If Prelude Implicit was a 10 out of 10, which for me musically it was, this is a 9 out of 10. I absolutely love it.
I agree with you. I'll cross that one off my list.
Oh, all right, Carcass, bring it on.
Well, like I said, I did a list, and so I'm going to be. I tell you what, I'll group this into thrash albums that I really dig this year, Grindcore records I really dig, and then I'll save the coup d'etat for the coup de
And
grace
then,
for the last.
Osric Tentacles releases for this year.
Yes, dang it, there is an Osric. In fact, I'll just get it out of the way. It's called it's called Space for Earth, and it's an incredible record. And here's the reason why: he has previous members that have been in the band, and he has brought them back to do various songs, and it is nothing short of spectacular. I will fight you in the parking lot to this day that they have never put out a bad record, and they continue that trend by not putting out a bad record. Space for Earth by Osric Tentacles is a masterpiece, and it's great, and it's a bunch of guys from his previous renditions of the band. So I highly recommend it, and I know that the boys in Madras will probably agree with me, and maybe even Scott. So Scott, what say you?
I just got a brand new album that has been tearing me up, that I've been listening to over and over again. 2020 released, but let's see if I can get there. You go. Brand new Anger Rot.
Ooh, man, I like the sound of that.
Anger.
Yeah. The Divine Apostate. It is old school death metal, bit of a melodic vibe, but mostly just old school death metal, grunt and grind death metal, and I'm digging this one a lot. I think they have at least 2 albums out. I have both of them. I just got both of them, but this album I popped on first, and it's been a constant spin for me. So, Anger Rot, the Divine Apostate.
Anger Rot. I'm making a
on Redefining Darkness Records.
I've not heard of that.
I haven't either, but I love it.
Just discovered them because the guitar player contacted me on Facebook, and so yeah, great stuff. Obviously, and the album cover, the album art is just, as you can see, it's pretty. I mean, it's death metal for sure, but it's nice artwork.
Yeah, brutal. Love
and
it.
You can almost read the logo.
Almost. Dang it! I was going to get that shirt too.
Yeah, I think I could have got that one. All right, so back to me. My turn.
Back to you.
All right, cool. My turn. I'll go quick again, or I'll try to go quick. Okay, I am a casual power metal fan, and what I mean by power metal is Helloween. I love Helloween, but I'm talking about, help me out, Scott.
U.S. power metal or European power metal?
European power metal.
Blind Guardian.
Blind Guardian.
Yeah.
Camelot.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. I can't. Oh my gosh. Here we go. Stradivarius, that kind of thing.
Sure.
I'm a casual fan, but I do like it a lot. And I don't pretend to be able to keep up with everything because there's a million bands like that. But because of a video that got put on Facebook that I saw and loved the video, I have come to go buy the entire catalog. I think I'm missing the first album, but I went and bought 3 CDs of Unleash the Archers, and this is their 2020 release, The Abyss. And this is very cool, very user-friendly to me, European-style power metal, and her vocals are just astonishing to me. Brittany slays. So I kind of fell in love with this album and worked my way backward. But man, if you haven't seen the video for Faster Than Light, you need to check it out. And I will not reveal any spoilers, but this is definitely one of my favorites from 2020. Unleash the Archers, Abyss.
Okay, well. Well, I'm going to do what I said. I'm going to group these. In fact, I'll play off of Scott's Anger Rot blast. And Abysmal Dawn, Phylogenesis is an absolute crusher. And tie that in with the Skeletal Remains from SoCal, from Southern California. They released The Entombment of Chaos. I saw them twice in 2019 when they were actually having shows. And both those bands are absolutely crushing. Abysmal Dawn sort of has found their identity, and both those albums are absolute crushers. So sticking with the death metal vein, Exhumed and Gruesome put out a split, and it's really amazing. It's called Twisted Horror, so you may want to check that out. and then and so I'll just let you guys go on because I could go on forever. So
Cool.
there's my death metal blasts.
All right, Scott.
All right, let me give you another one. This is going to definitely make my top 10 of the year. Got a Texas connection here, but it's actually a new wave of British heavy metal band. Stupid.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Cloven.
Cloven.
We have in Cloven Hoof, Age of Steel with your buddies George Call singing for him.
That's
George,
right.
incredible vocalist, and this is a great, straightforward heavy metal album. You might call it power metal, but it's not power metal. If it's power metal, it's more U.S. style power metal. Not it's not. There's no Dungeons and Dragons and flowery keyboards and all that kind of stuff. It's just straightforward heavy metal with George's badass vocals. So, yeah, old school band showing the new bands how to do it right.
Yeah, George is.
I got another one right here. It's the same thing. I'll just go one more because this is similar vein in style, but this is the brand new album from 80s band Siren, Back from the Dead.
Wow.
Indeed.
Okay,
Great.
I need to know more about this. Next time we visit on the phone, you'll have to tell me more. I'm not familiar with Siren.
Okay, yeah, Siren's been around for quite a while, but they broke up obviously a long time ago, back in the 90s. This is their brand new album, and it's fantastic. I mean, if you're into the styles of like Cloven Hoof, Metal Church, Malaya Rage, kind of that U.S. style power metal that kind of rides the fence between thrash and straightforward heavy metal, that's kind of what you're going to get with Siren.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I need to check that out for sure. All right, I've got our first controversial entry.
Ooh, good.
Okay, this band, now Scott, I think you're going to figure this out immediately. Carcass, I don't know if you will. This band put out a record 30 years ago, and for the 30th anniversary, they decided that they were going to reimagine it, not re-record it. They were going to take the songs and kind of do a reimagined thing with it, change them up, deliver them a little differently, and that's exactly what they did. Now, people didn't like it that were or a lot of people didn't like it that were fans of the original album. But I took them at their word and listened to it as a 2020 new release. And Lynch Mob took their classic Wicked Sensation album, completely retooled it. And when they say reimagined, that's exactly right. It is not a re-recording of Wicked Sensation. It literally is a 30th anniversary celebration, but retooled, reimagined, delivered differently. I love it. I think it's really cool. It puts a very chill spin on that record. Oni does a lot of improv on it, which I think is cool. A la David Lee Roth, just kind of, throwing a little improv vocal in. I dig it. So for me, no brainer. If this is not really a top 10 that we're doing, but if I were to make a top 10 for me, this one goes right in there. I absolutely love it.
So just to be clear, that's not like the Exodus re-recording of Bonded by Blood or
No.
the Testament First Strike Still Deadly type
Nope.
things. It's
Nope,
just a
nope.
total rearrangement of that record.
Correct. Same running order, same songs. The basic melodies are there, in the basic melodies. You would recognize the songs, but yeah, it's a completely different delivery. I dig it. I think it's great.
Okay. Well, I'm going to thrash under pressure here because there's a bunch of really, really killer new thrash records out this year. And Rob, as you and I talked about it, I can't believe how many people actually the pandemic didn't seem to slow the metal guys down much because there's a ton of releases. So I'm going to start with something I saw on that Scott and I had discussed already, Accuser, the self-titled. That thing absolutely completely annihilates. And I might throw the new Evil Dead in there. If you haven't heard that, is that the potato chip or less than a potato chip?
A new copy that actually plays.
Yay!
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Third time's a charm. Yep.
And you don't have to iron it. Well, I might throw the new Evil Dead in there because it's in kind of the same vein. But then Grindpad and put out Violence, which is really a killer record. unbelievably, Mr. Bungle. Yes, I said Mr. Bungle, and that's Mike Patton, Dave Lombardo, Scott Ian, and I can't for the life of me, I can't remember who's playing bass. It's called the Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny, and that thing absolutely destroys. I know it's goofy, but consider the source of Mike Patton. He's not exactly conventional, but this thing is a raging thrash record. It's like SOD with Mike Patton singing. Scott Ian is phenomenal with his riffing. Dave Lombardo is incredible on drums. I'll add the new Overdose. What is that? Two Wheels and Gone.
Oh yes, man! I overlooked that one.
That thing is a ripper. And Warfect, a Swedish band that riffs like a Bay Area thrash band. It's called Spectre of Devastation. It's absolutely crushing, killer riffs. Witch Trap from Colombia. Evil Strikes Again. It's a phenomenal black thrash record. And then one of my favorites of the year is a band from Melbourne, Australia called Stalker, Black Magic Terror. And that thing rips. If you like Evil Invaders, if you like, Criminelli, who are they? Enforcer, that type of thing, you will absolutely love Stalker. They are blistering, thrashing, headbanging mania. Highly recommended. What say you, Scott?
All right. Well, if you're gonna do thrash metal, I just pulled some thrash metal ones that are in my pile here. But I mean, this one's gonna be in my top 5 as well. But I got like 4 of them here. I'll go through them quickly. But yeah, I love this album.
Yes,
dude. I'm telling you, that thing is it's thrash, but it's dark.
I knew you were going to pull that one, so I left mine on the shelf because I knew you would talk about it.
Charring the Rotting Earth from Madrost, one of my favorite thrash albums of the year.
Yep.
This one,
Banner on the show.
Exactly. And Accuser would rank up there too, but there's a few others in here too you might recognize. Here's the Havoc.
Oh, yeah. I completely forgot about that one.
Nice return.
Yeah.
Nice return to form, in my opinion. The last album, they kind of got a little funky here and there. They were kind of doing some slap bass stuff, and I understand they were trying something new, but this is total return to the thrash metal form. Brand new Warbringer.
Oh, dude, how is it?
It's fantastic. I just got it. I got to give it a few more spins, but from what I heard, it blew my head off the other day when I played it.
See, they sort of did the same thing on that 4th record. They kind of went weird. They went dark, death metal almost.
All right. I didn't hear anybody say this one.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Oh, my gosh. Yep.
Yeah, yep. I mean, Testament's just been releasing album after album of very good stuff.
Yes.
Two more.
Oh, man, that thing rips too.
I haven't heard that one either.
Now, this one to me is a little more pushing towards the power metal side than it is thrash. The Heathen, it's not quite as thrashy and speedy as some of their past stuff. It's got a little more of a power metal vibe to it. And I'm going to sneak this one into because this is absolutely one of my favorites. This is not really thrash, but I consider these guys to be one of the proto thrash bands of all time. But this is brand new Raven.
Oh yeah, I like that one too.
So yeah, I mean, this one has gotten a lot of spins, and I would be shocked if it wasn't in my top 10 for the year.
That one as well. All right, back to me. Now, I had the pleasure of meeting Jim, and I hope I'm saying his name right, Jim Bocci from Hitman. When I was at the Metal Swap Meet last year, this dude came up and we got to talking records, and he was a nice guy, and I could kind of tell he was a musician. And we got to talking. I asked him if he was in a band, and he said Hitman. And I made a mental note of it, looked it up later, found their original CD that came out back in 90, I think. And this one just came out this year. In fact, it just came out a few weeks ago, maybe a couple months. And it's great. It's just excellent, traditional, clean vocal, U.S. Traditional metal. Love it. It was really cool to meet Jim. He's been a really cool dude to get to know a little bit online. Heck of a nice guy. But, man, if you're into – I don't want to compare him to anybody necessarily, but if you're into, like, Keel, the traditional – Keel Sword from Canada, the traditional heavy metal with nice clean vocals, you will not go wrong with this. Hitman featuring Jim Bocci on guitar. Forgive me, Jim, if I pronounce your name incorrectly.
Oh, I guess I'm up.
You're up.
Okay, well, I'm gonna take the extreme metal, like a grindcore approach, and on the top of my list so far is a band from Spain called Convulsions. They put out a split this year with Insect Terror, and I see. I would have some of these releases in a hard copy, but they're just impossible to find. And Convulsions is no different. In fact, I tried to friend them on Instagram, and Instagram had blocked them because due to controversy that may affect the outcome of the election. That's what it told me. So I don't even want to go there. But anyway, how can a grindcore band from Spain affect the outcome of the? I guess that's even beyond the Russian thing. I don't know.
They
Who knows?
colluded with the Russians.
They colluded with the Russians, but they made the Russians convulse because this thing is just blistering. It borders on pure death metal and with a grindcore edge to it, with a little more blast beat. But anybody that wants to check them out on their extreme obscene performance of last year. It's freaking brutal, and they're awesome. So Convulsions, Internal Rot is another one called Grieving Birth. If you like 1 minute songs or less and blistering, punishing drums and vocals, I have to give it up to our local Swedish death metal worshippers, Kalia. Born to See, Bred to Hate, and Led to Destroy. It was just a download release only, and I think they released it on cassette, which I don't have yet. But Ben and the boys are just absolutely punishing with that. If you like Swedish death metal, you'll love Kalia's new record, Born to See, Bred to Hate, Led to Destroy. Mortiferum released a single called Abhorrent Genesis. It's a song from their new record that's pending. It'll be out probably early next year. Mortuous from Oakland, California, Among the Lost. Mors Immortalis is freaking brutal. And there's a band from Canada called Wake. I don't know quite how to describe them. They have death metal elements, ambient elements. It's as if Osric Tentacles were playing death metal. So they have these highs and lows. They're sort of a hybrid between Osric Tentacles and Blood Incantation. They released an EP. They released two things. They released Devouring Ruin, which was a full length, and then an EP just recently called Confluence. And so if you want to get to something kind of eclectic and ambient and atmospheric, check out Wake from Canada. They're freaking awesome. Scott, John reads lists, and Rob and Rob adjusts his light.
I adjusted mine too, so mine's like blinding me. So anyhow, I got a few albums I would call epic metal here. Start off with a band from California.
Oh,
the brand
goodness.
new. Yep, Tyrant with Robert Lowe from Solitude Alternus singing for him. Fantastic album. I mean, just brilliant, straight traditional heavy metal, pushing more towards the doom side of things. Again, I'd call it epic metal. Same with this band here, who returned to form with a brand new full-length studio album, Cirith Ungol, Forever Black.
Okay.
If you like Cirith Ungol, there's no chance you won't like this. They just stuck to their guns and did what they do best. Just that slow dirge of metal with those awesome vocals. Yeah, I mean, he's just got one of those vocal styles that, I don't know, nobody else has. Keep going. This one I just got, but I've heard it a couple times and I'm digging it. And of course, it's St. Vitus.
Yep.
Brand new St. Vitus with the return of original vocalist
Scott Riegers.
Scott Riegers, thank you. Yeah, very simple cover, but it's got a big old silver foil stamped V on it. But yeah, really good.
With our friend,
How do I not have this?
when
How
our
do
friend,
I not know about this?
I picked one up in Salt Lake that's a clear version that is limited to very minimal copies. And Henry told me, who drums on that record, Henry Vasquez, said that thing is a rare bird. He said he didn't know how I found it in Salt Lake City, Utah, or in Taylorsville, Utah, not even Salt Lake. But anyway, that's a great record. It is a return to a more traditional St. Vitus sound.
And a couple moments, it even has a little bit of a punk vibe to it that I caught. So, which is, I mean, that's not unlike the early stuff as well. But one more, this one's definitely more on the doom side, female vocals. This is second album, I believe, from Smolder. And they actually put the style of their music right on the back. Arcane Power Doom. Doom. Female vocals, like I said, but really, really good band. Smolder. I think it's their second album. This is a newer band, unlike the other three I showed that have been around for a while. But yeah, few epic albums that I've been digging. Epic Doom, whatever you want to call it.
Nice. Cool.
Arcane Epic Doom.
Well, it is certainly
Arcane
appropriate. It is certainly appropriate on this, the 14th anniversary of the death of Daryl Abbott, that I show you the 20th anniversary reissue of Reinventing the Steel. This has every freaking thing that you want. It has a new Terry Date mix, which is pretty cool. You hear some nuances and some little things that you didn't hear before. It's a 3-disc set. The second disc has the original album remastered, which also sounds really cool. And then it also has bonus tracks on disc 2 featuring some radio mixes. But on disc 3, it has instrumental rough mixes of the entire album, plus some non-album tracks and cover songs that came out around that time. So I can't say enough about this. This is a fantastic 3-disc reissue. Highly recommended 2020 release.
Well,
I'll have that one. Have to add it to the list.
I'm making a list and checking it twice.
It is. It's really, really good. Yeah, it's just well done. The remixes, the remasters, everything about it is top notch. Yeah, cool stuff.
Well, as I already mentioned, that we've already delved into that thing. I think personally, start to finish, that might be the best Pantera record, without any droning, without any filler, without any. It's just straight up. I'm going to punch you in the face, and I'm going to keep punching you until the needle lifts off side B. But,
it's my second favorite behind power metal.
I do love power metal too. One of our listeners actually posted something from Brazil, a band called Valera, and so I'm going to check it out. So if you guys have any recommendations, please put them in the comments down below, and give us your. Yeah, there it is. Valera from Brazil, Cycle of Disaster, probably my thrashter piece of the year. Thanks, Cloudy.
Oh, that's Cloudy Mauder. Yeah, he's a cool cat. He has his own channel that he does on YouTube as well.
Right on. Well, I'm gonna
go look him up. What's his channel called?
Go ahead and give him a shout out.
Cloudy. I can't remember the top of my head. Cloudy, what's your channel name?
Yeah,
it's Cloudy something or other. I just can't remember it.
I've pulled up Valvera because I want to check that out. So
Valera, okay.
I hope I'm saying that right. Valvera, yeah, cool.
All right. Well, I'm gonna just close out my list, because that's what I do. I read lists, because, as my grandfather told me, a sharp pencil is better than a dull mind. So I write it down so that I don't forget. But couple of late bloomers at the end of the year. We've already kind of touched on the AC/DC Power Up. That thing is a phenomenal record. It's relentless. It sounds like AC/DC. It may be, in fact, the best AC/DC in a long time. A weird side project from Shane Embry of Napalm Death is called Dark Sky Burial. I'm not gonna even try and attempt the
I do add it in there
metal band. Yeah, I'm not going to even try to. I speak a little Latin, but de omnibus dubitandum est, and this thing is it's ambient, dark, brooding weirdness. How can we forget the reissue of the Forebode EP with bonus tracks?
Yeah.
That came out. I had that one on my list because that one's freaking awesome too. And we all know that our house band Forbode rules. There you go. And lest we forget, Napalm Death, Throes of Joy in the Jaws of Defeatism. It's a ripper, and it seems like that Napalm just continues to be consistent and get better and better. How can you forget our buddy Larry Berrigan taking a chance and releasing Santa Oscuridad Number Dos, and that thing is a really cool record. And so that's pretty much what I have on my rather lengthy and illustrious list of things. And I could have had more, Rob, but I just there you go. And to Scott's point, I wanted to keep it under 4 hours. So
yeah. Well, and I'll piggyback on this just for a second. I don't mean to jump in front of Scott, but if you like the first one, which was outstanding, this one just goes hand in hand. Great 2020 release from Santa Oscuridad. It is some traditional heavy metal in Spanish, which is very cool.
And in that same vein, how could we forget the release of the Hellstar 7-inch?
I haven't received mine yet.
Black Wings of Solitude. I've ordered mine, and it's been months and months, but it'll eventually get here. But man, what a killer song!
Great.
We heard it for the first time ever played live there at the gig at Trees. So that was cool. So we can't leave Hellstar out. Thanks to those dudes for really keeping metal real. Scott?
I'll go through several of them real quick. So because I have quite a few sitting here still. But we got Desert Doom from Red Mesa.
Oh yeah, you talked about that one before. I like that thing.
Guest vocals on one track from Wino, formerly of Solitude of St. Vitus. One of my favorite progressive rock / metal albums of the year, the new Mekong Delta.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah, fantastic album. What's it called? I can't even remember the name of it. Tales of something or other. Tales of Future Past.
Man, you guys have kept up better than I have. I thought I had some stuff.
Another German power metal album. Gravedigger.
I forgot about that.
Doing what Gravedigger does best, just straightforward heavy metal. Fields of Blood. They seem to be obsessed with Scotland, and that's kind of what you got again here with this thing. The last album was more straightforward heavy metal. The songs weren't like a storyline, but they've returned back to the epic storylines going on here, and I really enjoyed that one this year. Brand New Striper.
Oh wow, I forgot.
I have it, but I have not heard a note of it.
Michael Sweet's voice is still as great as it ever was, and the whole band. I think they're heavier now than they were back in the '80s for sure.
Oh, I
totally agree with
you. This one's a shock.
Oh, yay!
Yep, you aced me on that one.
I did not expect to like this album as much as I did. I'm a huge Blue Oyster Cult fan, but a lot of my favorite bands from the '70s have released. I mean, Aerosmith's always been one of my favorite bands. I still love Aerosmith, but their last studio album was a piece of garbage. And a lot of '70s bands seem to just release a total piece of garbage where they seem to go back and we're going to play the blues now. You know what I mean? That seems to be like the MO of a lot of bands, but this is just fantastic, straightforward, 70s style hard rock, a bit of 80s in there as well, heavy metal, but it doesn't sound dated. It just sounds like straightforward hard rock, heavy metal. Really great album. And let me show a few more real quick. I'll go run through them fast. The new Metal Church double album, which is got 4 new songs on it, 4 live songs on it.
Yeah, and it has live tracks too, doesn't it?
4 new songs, 4 live tracks, 4 cover songs, and then a few B-side tracks on the D side from past albums, from the past couple albums.
Yeah, one thing I want to say about that is, whenever you get these from the Vault album, sometimes you get a lot of junk, a lot of filler, a lot of stuff that didn't make the album for a reason. That is not the case with that Metal Church album.
No, not at all.
That thing is fantastic.
Yep, absolutely brilliant. probably the biggest disappointment for me this year. But I'm still going to show it because I love this band, and I bought every one of their albums as a new release ever since the 80s.
Isaiah, you're correct. That Deep Purple album is great.
This Anvil album, I love Anvil, man. I will fight to the death on this for this band, but this album just didn't do it for me.
I haven't heard it.
It's all about how excited the band is about marijuana being legal in Canada. It's just not what I was hoping for. Let me do one more from Germany, sticking with the power metal sound, but this is the brand new.
Man. I love Primal Fear. They're
Metal
free,
Command.
and they don't disappoint on that. It sounds extremely like Primal Fear.
Killer.
So I've got 4 CDs too, but I don't know how fast you guys want to go, or if you want to end soon. But if you got time, I'll show those as well. But I don't want to take up all the time.
No, it's all good. Let me run through a few, and then we'll come back.
Got it.
For me, locally, this is the one.
Oh, wow.
Iron Jaw came out with just some traditional heavy metal. Todd Pack on vocals, the Governor on guitar. This thing kills, and we were able to see them a week or two ago in front of Hellstar in Aska. This is an 8-song release. Came out on Sean's own Metal Rising Records. Cannot say enough about this. And what I get when I saw these guys live, because I'd seen them before at the Bruce Corbett Memorial a couple, 3 years ago, but what I get when I see them, when I saw them the other night, is sheer professional. This is what a professional, killer, well-seasoned heavy metal band sounds like. And Todd Pack harkens back to, you get a little bit of Halford in his voice. He's a great singer, and I'm not comparing him completely to Rob Halford, but there are some elements of Halford in his voice, and he's an amazing singer, a super nice guy. And this is my DFW release of 2020. Love it.
Ain't nothing wrong with comparing a singer to Rob Halford. If you're going to be compared to a singer, you might as well be compared to him.
Oh man,
right?
He's awesome. Well, and people think, oh my gosh, I'm going to go listen to this guy that sounds just like Rob Halford. Well, he doesn't sound just like Rob Halford, but he's got a lot of those qualities to his voice. I'll run through a couple that one that you guys touched on. Can't say enough about this. I'm with you, Scott. Again, like Kansas, I was a greatest hits fan of Blue Oyster Cult. I've heard their stuff. Like I bought the live album, and it was pretty good that they put out a year or so ago. But this thing just dominates. And I heard a couple of people talking about they didn't like the songs that Richie sings on. And I think the songs that Richie sings on are a couple of the strongest on the album. So, man, if you've been dragging your feet on getting this Blue Oyster Cult record, freaking get it. It is outstanding. I'll throw out a couple more, and then we'll come back to you, Scott.
Yeah, go ahead. Take your time.
Two more. One more that I want to.
Yeah, of course.
This is the best album they have done since For Those About to Rock. Fight Me. That album is absolutely fantastic. To me, it is a return to a lot of classic AC/DC. You get a lot of like 80 to 85 AC/DC, or 81 to 85. You don't really go back to Back in Black too much. There are a couple of songs that kind of have that darker feel to them. But my gosh, this thing is a showstopper for me. And it is probably my second favorite AC/DC album behind Back in Black. How about that? And I'll do one more, and then I'll save a couple for last. Well, I already talked about AC/DC, so I'll just get this out of the way. Not to dismiss it, but I'm surprised, Scott, that you haven't said anything about this yet, since it is on your label. There you go.
It's going to be one of the next ones I showed.
I was my buddy Chris and I go back almost 30 years, and this is Chris Manning. The album is Destination, and I have been talking about this thing on the Metal Rob show. We have talked about it on the Metal Roundtable, and this thing finally came out last month. And Bruce Kulick plays on a song, and this one is actually signed by Chris and Bruce. But holy cow, if you want a modern melodic hard rock heavy metal masterpiece, look no further than this. First of all, Chris's guitar playing is out of this world, and it always has been. But good gosh, the singer that he found, Chris Hodges, is just out of this world. And then it also features the vocals of Chandler Mogul on the bonus track. And this thing is out of the park, from songwriting to guitar playing to singing to production to mastering, out of this world. And on top of it, the cherry on top is he landed a freaking couple of guitar solos in All Over or Start Over Now by Bruce Kulick. I mean, how does it get better than that for a relatively unknown local dude to do something like this? He's been putting out music for 30 years, but this is the pinnacle of what Chris has done. I cannot say enough about it. And I'm glad that I was able to kind of do the matchmaking between Chris and your label. I think it's been, it's just been fantastic. The record is so good. I'll shut up now.
Then the reason I didn't show it right away was because I don't want people to say I'm just trying to promote my own label on here, you know. But I do agree. I mean, I did show them a Drost earlier, but that album and this album, I think, are world class. They could easily be on a Nuclear Blast or a Metal Blade and easy. I mean, they're as good as anything else out there, if not better than a lot of stuff that's out there.
Well, and the thing is about touting your own label, I get what you're saying, but I was so confident when I heard this, and when I was talking to you on the phone about it, because we do so much work together on, you know, mastering and art and stuff like that. So we're talking all the time, but I was so behind this record, and I was not reluctant at all to send you those first couple of songs. And I was really stoked when you hit me back and you were like, "Oh, dude, do you really think you'd go with this?" I was like, "Yes, let's do this, man." So I'm really glad that worked out, and I'm super proud of Chris, and I'm super proud of the label for landing it. And hopefully we can work out something with the other band that we're talking about. So we'll see.
There's a couple bands we're talking about. I'll go through this quickly because that's why I didn't show these earlier, because these are stuff that's on my label. But I stand behind the stuff we put out. If I don't like it, we don't put it out. This is Hellbender from California. Just great crossover thrash metal. Has a bit of a hardcore vibe to the vocals, but it's mostly just straightforward thrash metal. Maybe a bit of, you know, power metal here and there, you know, a la Metal Church, but they've got Dollar Bill as their vocalist, so he definitely has that kind of crossover vibe to it. Not metalcore, not even slightly metalcore, a bit of hardcore vibe to it.
I need that.
From Nevada, this is just a 1, 2, 3, 4, 6-song EP, but fantastic thrash metal with a vocalist who easily could rival Rob Halford. I mean, that's how good this guy is, and this is a fantastic speed metal, thrash metal release. So from the ruins into chaos.
I don't know that one either. Are you holding out on me?
Well, that would be Bill. just remind him, and he'll send it to you.
All right.
But if anybody is interested in these, right now the label this week is having a $7.99 sale on all our CDs. And then one that's not on my label, but one that I think is really fantastic. And I actually think Rob did the mastering for this one, if I'm not mistaken. But this is the Brand New Bride. Here Is Your God.
Sure did, yes.
This is a good record. I mean, I'm not that I should be shocked. I mean, I like Bride stuff, but this is a return to metal for them. This is not a hard rock record. This is a metal record.
Yep.
Double bass and all. So really good stuff from Bride. The song Demon Speed is on YouTube if anybody wants to check it out. There's a lyric video for Demon Speed. It's good stuff, man. And Dale sounds as good as he ever has. I mean, he still screams like a banshee.
Yep. Hey, and speaking of Christian metal, which Bride obviously is a Christian metal band, if that's your thing, you need to check out the new Motivic record. I had the absolute pleasure of mastering that and working closely with Ryan on getting that finalized, and that thing is amazing. It carries this kind of Western sort of theme throughout part of it. In part of it, they're sitting around a campfire. But dude, do not be deceived. It is straight up metal, and I can't believe the talent of that guy. When I heard it, it came across my desk, and I didn't really know what label it was for yet. I was just kind of going through a spreadsheet. Now I need to do this Motivic and download the files. And I got into it, and I played a song off of it before I even realized where I got it. I thought it came in as one of the AFM records or one of the Massacre Records submissions that I got for the Metal Rob show. And it wasn't. I had downloaded it to do mastering for Bill and played the darn thing before I even realized it. But that's how much that album caught me. Motivic, Death of the Gunman. You need to check that out for sure. And
yeah, it's a good record for when I've heard of it. My copy's in the mail.
Oh yeah, and if I'll just close out my list because I think you've got a couple more.
I got one.
All right, I'll just close out mine and then we'll let you finish it up. How can you go wrong? How can you go wrong? People will say, "Oh, do we need another Iron Maiden live album?" Yes. Yes, we do. I love that they archive their tours in video releases and audio releases. I've only listened to part of the first disc, but it's exactly what you want. You want that archival piece from the tour, and this brilliantly does that. Top-notch artwork, top-notch recording. Yes. Do you want more Iron Maiden or less Iron Maiden? I'll take more every time. Thank you very much. Fight me.
It's on my want list. Haven't bought that one yet.
It's good, man. You're gonna dig it.
You have any more, John?
I got nothing. I closed out my list because I thought we were trying to keep it under 4 hours.
Oh, well, I got two more. I'll do them quickly. If you don't know this band, check them out, especially if you're a fan of like Thin Lizzy and UFO and that classic 70s sound. But this is brand new. Freeways, True Bearings. Horrible cover, but definitely going for a 70s vibe. So these are young guys going for a classic sound. Somewhere in between Thin Lizzy and UFO in the sound. Listened to that one a lot this year. And I pulled this one out just now just because you had mentioned a couple Christian metal albums, but I think this is a really good album as well. But this is the brand new Saint the Calf.
Mm-hmm.
They have a new vocalist, so it's no longer that classic Rob Halford sound. It's no longer Josh Kramer singing for him, but this new guy whose name I don't remember. He's got a great clean classic metal voice, and they didn't try to replace Rob Halford with Rob Halford. They went for a new sound, but they're keeping it traditional metal. It's a solid album from them. So Saint the Calf, and that's it for me. I'm done.
Okay, I do apologize. I had set one to the side. I went down a huge AOR and classic rock rabbit hole this year. One of the things that I feel fortunate to have done was I've made an acquaintance in Dave Caldwell, who played in Bad Company for many years and also Humble Pie. And so going through some of his stuff, I came across former Bad Company singer Robert Hart, and this came in the mail. I got this literally a few minutes before the show started, and so as I continue down the rabbit hole of things that Dave played on and some of the later Bad Company stuff, that took me to this Robert Hart, which I think is probably going to be an AOR / classic rock kind of thing. So Robert Hart Pure on the tail end of my list of things that I've picked up. So yeah, I'm going to check that out on Escape Music. I just got it today.
I just got one today too. I haven't even heard it yet.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier in the same vein as oh gosh, whatever it was.
You were talking about your thrash metal stuff, and I'm like, I think I might have got that, and I had the envelope sitting there. I ripped it open while you're not. Yep, got
there
it.
It is.
Nice. Well, I mentioned something at the beginning, and I'm the king of not following up on points that I try to make. As anybody that's watched the show for any length of time knows that I'll say something at the beginning and then I forget to say it. So with regard to my hiatus, which I very much appreciate Scott coming in, I won't go into too much detail, but I did need a little bit of time away. Needed to kind of get my head straight on some things. I mean, I'm not like going crazy or anything like that, but
Sure you are, but go
I
ahead.
had an extremely busy 2020 where I worked nearly every stinking day between my real job and mastering and this and Metal Rob show and all these things. And I just needed to clear the decks for a little bit. So I appreciate your patience. And Scott, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming in. And I don't want it to be a fill-in thing. Not at all. I really want you to join us and continue joining us as much as you want every time, as far as I'm concerned. And I think I speak on behalf of the Carcass when I say that.
Absolutely. In fact, not to disparage your absence at all, but it seemed rather seamless because it seems like we've known each other for years. Once again, we had that same connection when we first met over a cassette deck years and years ago. It just feels like Scott's just been part of the crew ever since. So yeah, no, we've had some pretty good episodes. We've talked about some things, and I love the episode where we, in fact, it was so noticeable that we were like putting out the same, like we don't coordinate between, we just come up with a subject and we were like pulling out the same records at the same time. And I think it was Steve Gaines that said, "Oh man, it was so hilarious that you were both pulling out the same records." So that would lead me to believe that we're on the same wavelength at least. And Rob, you had mentioned that I'm sort of the liaison between grindcore and hair metal, I guess. but Scott is certainly you're sort of the bookends, and I'm sort of the meat and potatoes in between. But yeah, man, anytime, Scott, you're more than welcome. In fact, I'm looking forward to next week so we can talk about something else. But in fact, I think we have. Did we confirm our guest for next week?
That is the week before Christmas. The guest.
Oh, the week before Christmas. That's right, with Glenn Rogers.
Yeah, the week
So
of
the
Christmas.
22nd.
Okay,
Yes.
the 22nd with Glenn Rogers. That's going to be a really cool thing. And Rob, do we tip our hand and say we're working on something with Aska, and hopefully will happen soon enough, and we'll have.
We are working on something with Aska.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. That's all we're going to say.
Yes.
We don't want to tip our hand. So,
Yes.
so Scott, you're going to get to see one of your vocal heroes, and hopefully, and like we did a couple of weeks ago at that Power Fest 2, that was really a killer event. I'm still smoldering from the amount of heavy metal that was poured forth from the stage. And I mean, awesome. think about just the three bands that we've mentioned: Hellstar, Aska, and Iron Jaw, for crying out loud. And you know, the other bands, Infidel Rising and James Norton, were happy participants too. And I'm grateful for the Infidel Rising guys for pulling that thing together, because it seemed like it got rescheduled a million times.
It was awesome.
But it was awesome. It was a good event, and everybody kind of practiced their social distancing and wore masks, and
they were respectful of the rules. Absolutely.
Yep. And so I think that's the best way to. Oops. I'll have to call my father back. But
on the show.
Hey, Dad, you want to be on the show? I don't think so. That would be interesting. But yeah, thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. And Rob, you take as much time as you need, man. We're all having fun, and remember when we first started, Rob and I. This is the embryo that hatched this beast. Rob and I used to go to lunch on a frequent basis, you know, usually on a Friday, and we would just sit and talk about music and metal and cool stuff that we bought and whatever. And he said, "Man, we should do a radio show, or we should do a blog." And so that was the genesis of it all. And it's expanded to 75 episodes. I mean, good grief. Man. So we must be doing something right. And we hope that that you tell your friends, and heck, tell your enemies. But we want people to participate. Give us your ideas down below. We're going to try and get a little more audience participation as we move forward. And your opinion certainly does matter here. And like I said, if it's not fun, then that was the breaking point. We said if this stops being fun, then we're not going to do it anymore. And I was cool with that. And if you need to take a break so it still is fun, that's great because I'm still having fun. How about you?
Oh yeah. It's a busy thing for me. So let's just go around the table real quick. You can follow me at I am Metal Rob. You can find me on Facebook, on Instagram. There's nolifetillmetal.com. Carcass is at Carcass John Art on Instagram. And Scott, tell us the website for the label.
The website for the label is nolifetillmetalrecords.com. You can also just go right to nolifetillmetal.com and click on the records button. It'll get you there as well. I also have my No Life to Metal YouTube channel, which you can also get to from nolifetillmetal.com just by clicking on the YouTube link.
Yeah, and if you want to see a host that does a better job than I do, go check out Scott's channel.
Hey.
No, it's great to have you, man. Thank you so much. I just saw somebody chime in and said that they were stoked to have Scott on the show and see you more often. Hey, there's TJ Lewis.
Hey TJ, I mentioned your EP as one of my top picks for 2020.
Yes, he did. And TJ, it's not over. I mean, it is about to be over, but you can absolutely go back and watch it. And I encourage you to do so because I delivered a blistering set today.
I think we all did.
Okay, Air Metal Rob. Don't hurt your shoulder patting yourself on the back. Don't, please. Yeah, I do. I read lists.
All right, boys. Hey, that's it. Unless anybody's got any parting shots, that was episode 75 of the Metal Roundtable. Thank you again to Scott Waters, the Carcass, as always. And one last shout out to the late, great Dimebag Daryl. And hey, you know how we do it. Until next time,
Metal will prevail.